Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Maller Grotner Plummer Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Maller Grotner Plummer Attorneys, understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, on the web at lawngp.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville, fiber internet, security solutions, and voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson, attorneys at law since 1949, utilizing experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, coming up, we'll have stories on how the property tax law is impacting rural schools and the latest from the State House. But first, Bloomington residents are cleaning up damage from a Thursday night storm. With winds up to 70 miles an hour, the storm hit the west side of the city hardest. Aubrey Wright has more details on the aftermath.
Jim Martin was alone watching TV when he received a tornado warning around 7 p.m. About 15 minutes later, that storm reached his Bloomington home, bringing hail, rain, and wind with it.
To the point where you really couldn't see what's going on. Stuff's just flashing by the house sideways. Decided this is a good time to go into a nice, secure spot and just wait it out.
This morning, healthy trees are ripped out of the ground, and Martin is sawing off and piling up smaller branches. He says he's trying to clean up most of it himself before calling a contractor.
We just had this about 2 years ago come through here, so I still do not have it cleaned up.
It's a similar situation for other West Side homes and businesses. While some property owners saw slight cosmetic damage, others, like the Monroe County Humane Association, faced more serious wreckage. The roof, windows, and clinic spaces are lost, but staff say all animals are safe. Some locals, like Steve Robertson, lost power.
Transformers are laying in the middle of the road, so there's no power. So my generator kicked on, and we're safe because we're not running any sewer anywhere but like it's supposed to.
Despite the damage, local police say there were no deaths or injuries from the storm. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Aubrey Wright.
The National Weather Service has teams in Bloomington investigating whether a tornado touched down last night. Kirkwood Avenue in downtown Bloomington will be open to traffic this summer, but as Pat Bean reports, neither the city council nor some businesses are happy about it.
The city of Bloomington announced the end of the annual street closure last weekend, citing safety concerns and a decrease in visitors to the area. The decision by Mayor Carrie Thompson was made based on the recommendation of the city engineer and over objections from the city council, which passed an ordinance last year establishing a seasonal outdoor dining program.
We did survey all of the businesses impacted by a closure of on Kirkwood, and only 5 of them said that they supported a closure.
The ordinance says the city engineer can suspend the program, quote, in cases of emergency, lack of participation, or any other reason that may render the program impractical. But at a city council meeting earlier this month, several members and residents spoke out against the plan to keep Kirkwood open to traffic.
City staff is tasked with writing the guidelines, and the guidelines are to put into place how this program will be implemented. And it doesn't give city staff the authority to stop part of this program.
Businesses will still be able to apply for a parklet model, which uses metered parking spots along Kirkwood to set up outdoor dining. Michael Fox owns Lenny's Brew Pub on Kirkwood. He says closing the road during the summer has increased sales, and he expects that to change with Kirkwood remaining open this summer.
So we had, invested in tables, umbrellas, plants, planters, with the understanding that it was approved for 3 years. So I was surprised to learn about it, and it's a little bit frustrating as a business owner.
The City Council can pass a new ordinance, but for now, Kirkwood will be open to traffic this summer. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Pat Bean.
The city plans to focus on expanding some festivals that have previously been limited by the outdoor dining. Last year, Senate Enrolled Act 1 introduced significant changes to the state's property tax system, aiming to provide relief to homeowners. But as Clayton Baumgarth reports, those changes are causing strain for schools throughout Indiana.
On April 15th of 2025, Governor Mike Braun signed Senate Enrolled Act 1 into law, deeming it historic tax relief. The bill introduced a new property tax credit of 10% of a homeowner's bill, up to $300. It also changed how farmland is assessed to provide further tax relief for farmers. In total, SEA 1 is expected to save homeowners $1.3 billion over the next 3 years. For schools, these cuts are raising alarms.
We were actually cut $787,000, which is approximately 20% of our operations budget.
Eastern Greene is a rural school district with just 1,100 students enrolled in K through 12. And though administrators anticipated those budgetary woes and made cuts to their central office and custodial staff, they're still looking for ways to save money, including reducing the number of bus routes.
We are a very large district in the square miles, so we can only reduce those routes so much and not put a kid on the bus for 90 minutes one way. That's just not feasible for families and for the kids.
In Indiana, the state education fund covers teachers' salaries and benefits, while local property taxes go into the school's operational budget, which quite literally help keep the lights on. Utility bills, equipment maintenance, insurance, transportation, and security are all paid for by property taxes.
I'm a taxpayer in this district, so it will reduce my taxes, but at what cost? I've got to keep a school open. I mean, public school is something that's fundamental in our society. We need to have that for our students.
Eastern Greene Schools isn't alone. Schools all over the state are feeling the belt tighten, though rural districts with a smaller tax base are more likely to see larger cuts. And nowhere are these cuts more evident than when looking at what schools call their circuit breaker, otherwise known as the amount of tax dollars an entity is losing due to tax caps.
A taxpayer who owns a home may actually owe $2,000 in taxes, let's just say, use that as an example. But due to circuit breaker, they can only legally pay $1,500.
At Eastern Greene, their circuit breaker is projected to increase from $242,000 in 2025 to $1.2 million in 2026.
There are also schools that have circuit breakers that don't reach $100,000. So it varies from school district to school district depending on the makeup of that particular district. So the effect of Senate Bill 1, while we can make some generalities of what we could expect from that, it will vary and can vary rather dramatically from school district to school district.
Harmon says he expects to see more referendums across the state to make up for this shortfall.
I think that will be an outlet or an avenue that school districts may have to try to use. Now, you can't count on that because, again, it's a referendum. It's got to be approved by the community. They've got to see the value in that.
Schools aren't the only ones feeling the crunch. Local income taxes are also changing, meaning municipalities lose property tax and income tax money.
So you're going to take two hits. And the question is, how do we function? Right? How do we continue to pay for the services that people want to have? Right? 60% of most local government budgets are police and fire. It's public safety.
In some cases, these changes may amount to a tax increase if local governments raise income taxes to offset the loss of property tax revenue.
If I'm an apartment renter, my landlord's getting property tax relief. I'm not sure that transfers into a lower rent, right? But my income tax may be higher because my income tax isn't different depending on whether I'm in a home or not.
Higgins says the good news in all this is that the full impact won't happen for a few years, meaning there's time to tweak taxes in the upcoming legislative sessions.
They're talking about the implementation of the income tax and whether or not that gets delayed. And so they may, depending on what the bodies do, may delay that for a year or two so that they could work out or make changes to how the income tax is distributed.
And while many will appreciate seeing more money in their accounts, others believe it shouldn't come at such a steep cost.
I don't think these were intended results, not completely, but I do think that they wanted us to tighten up our belts. And this was one way to do it, but I think there's more to it than what they anticipated.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Clayton Baumgarth.
Though many legislative leaders said tweaking SEA 1 would be a priority this shortened session, no bills on the verge of passing will do so. The Monroe County Election Board is moving forward with early voting plans for the May 5th primary. The board said during this week's meeting, residents can expect 28 days of early voting in the Showers building on North Morton Street. That plan could change, though. Lawmakers in Indianapolis are advancing a bill that would reduce the early voting period to 16 days.
We, at 28 days, were kind of an outlier on the high end. And I'm sure many of you have heard the argument that even here at the legislature that it's election day, not election month.
A proxy for a Monroe County Election Board member, Penny Githens, suggested waiting until the legislature decides the early voting window before setting dates and polling sites.
Should it pass, we should consider extending some hours, perhaps making Saturdays a full day. I know we've tried doing Sundays in the past. It's been kind of a dismal failure.
The election board also approved 28 polling locations, although only 21 are confirmed. The primary is on May 5th. Following the death of Fisher's teenager Haley Busby last month, Indiana lawmakers are considering expanding safety measures to protect children. Isabella Vesperini spoke with local experts to learn more on what can be done.
Once a year, Allison Alsop gathers her kids and talks to them about online dangers and staying safe.
There's a lack of, restrictions, unfortunately, and kids themselves are unaware of what they're getting into themselves, and it can lead to some disastrous events.
She believes educating kids about online safety should begin at home and be expanded on in school.
I feel like that's my job as a parent, is to protect my children.
Alsop considers herself stricter than the average parent when it comes to social media. She doesn't let her kids have a phone until they turn 16. They can't be on social media until the summer after they graduate high school. They're not allowed to use the home phone until middle school.
Kids are given phones, kids are going to bed with phones, and they're scrolling, and they don't know that they're scrolling right into danger.
The danger resulted in tragedy for Busby. She went missing last month after being groomed by a man she was playing games with online. The girl was later killed, but an Amber Alert was never issued. According to the Fishers Police Department, she left willingly and with a plan. She was classified as a runaway, which doesn't meet the criteria for an Amber Alert because there has to be an abduction and danger of harm. A petition calls on the Indiana General Assembly to create a new pink alert system and add mandated grooming awareness education in schools that addresses online grooming and digital manipulation. It has garnered over 110,000 signatures, including Alsop's.
It's just tragic what happened to her, and I think people and parents and young girls are realizing that more can be done, and we'll do what we can, I guess, to prevent this in the future.
Earlier this week, lawmakers announced that they would add an amendment to an existing bill expanding the definition of an Amber Alert.
It's just a different world, and the law has got to reflect, the world that we're in. And I think that's our job as legislators, to keep the law updated with current events. It's incredibly hard with technology. As you know, the technological advancements are moving so fast.
Indiana law requires K-12 schools to provide age-appropriate instruction on child abuse and child sexual abuse annually. Covenant Christian School's curriculum covers teaching kids about boundaries, what appropriate behavior is, and staying safe online.
Part of that training with children is, understanding, what it means to trust someone and whom we might trust versus, individuals that we should not trust. It's just a very difficult and dangerous world for our children to try to navigate on their own.
Acres has the flexibility in the school day, which is longer than what the state requires, to incorporate any additional mandates.
Through our daily Bible classes, which are really, I mean, it's a class with a religious focus, but take that with the broadest of interpretation. It deals with family dynamics, problem solving, relationships. Within that, there's a lot of room for us to address whatever the state might mandate.
He also stresses the importance of building a positive self-image and having healthy role models.
What we're really trying to do, the root there, is to address the insecurities that children have that make them vulnerable, helping them to understand that they don't need the approval of someone else.
When teaching children about what they should and shouldn't do, one expert at Indiana University recommends taking a harm reduction approach.
I try not to say to young people, don't share images. It's bad, it's dangerous, right? Because then if they do share images, they're going to be like, well, they told me not to, so I can't go to them. It's really about helping them understand the rationale for why we don't do it, helping them understand that it's going to happen in some environment in which they're engaging, and to make sure they know what to do and how to help themselves, but also their peers.
The median age range for exploitation in person or online is between 13 and 15. Getz thinks education on exploitation awareness should begin earlier.
What we need to do is acknowledge that if we ignore what's happening with exploitation and trafficking, we're empowering the ones who want to come in and exploit our children. And so what we need to do is empower the children and the youth and the adults and the adolescents and the communities through knowledge and resources so that when it happens in their community, they're prepared.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Isabella Vesperini.
Last year, the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force investigated over 20,000 online exploitation cases in Indiana. Over the past 5 years, that number is 70,000. We're joined now by Shelby Brown for more headlines from around the state. Welcome to the show, Shelby.
Thanks, Joe. State officials broke ground Thursday on a new national security industrial hub near Naval Weapons Station Crane in southern Indiana. The American Center for Manufacturing and Innovation Industrial Hub, with the backing of a $75 million award from the Defense Department, is slated to produce critical defense technologies for the U.S. military at the 1,100-acre campus.
This project is just one essential node in what I would characterize as an emergent, advanced defense ecosystem across the great state of Indiana.
Indiana's other U.S. Senator Jim Banks says the state is uniquely poised to grow its presence in the defense space.
Whether it is hypersonics, satellites, or world-class engineers, Indiana is already a leader in so many areas that support our military, and Indiana's importance is only going to continue to grow because of projects like this one.
Officials say they expect the first facilities of the hub to be operational by 2027. Indiana Republicans are working on a plan to partner with Turning Point USA to establish chapters in every public high school and college statewide. Indiana Governor Mike Braun is expected to announce details next month.
It's not about having more conservative students or, having more people who agree with us. It's about bringing those people out to have the discussion and to get everyone, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, to just be thinking about our future.
Stonecipher says he doesn't think the partnership would mandate schools to have chapters. It would protect students' abilities to form chapters without administrative resistance. Democrats are worried about the implication of the state partnering with a right-wing faith-based organization and using taxpayer dollars to do so.
I think that this is very different than a free speech. This is a state-sanctioned youth recruitment.
Similar partnerships already exist in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. Lawmakers continue to move on a bill they say will connect homeless people with resources through interactions with police. The bill makes it so people can be charged with a Class C misdemeanor for camping or sleeping in public areas. But advocates for the unhoused and police say attaching a criminal element to homelessness will have a negative impact.
As the sheriff, there's a broader perspective here, and it's the jail. And when these individuals are brought into the jail, there's mental health issues we're dealing with, substance dependencies, and medical issues that we're needing to deal with.
The bill now heads to the full House. State Representative Matt Pierce is facing a challenger for the first time in more than 20 years ahead of the May 5th primary. Pierce has held the District 61 seat, which includes all of Bloomington, since 2002. But this year he will be challenged by Democratic Socialist Liliana Young, who says she will bring a working class viewpoint to the State House.
I think that we need to start cleaning house and put newer, more fresh-faced people into that legislature.
Pierce is hoping his experience as a progressive voice will earn a renomination.
I don't think you want someone who has to do on-the-job training when you have so much at stake.
This year's primary is on May 5th. Crawford Apartments, a complex for individuals experiencing chronic homelessness, has failed another city inspection. During inspections last month, the city found multiple safety issues, including pest infestations, non-functional smoke detectors, and unsafe power outlets. A February 9th re-inspection found the same issues. Bloomington's mayor blames a lack of adequate supportive services.
If your mental health care is not up to par, etc., we get into a situation where people are pulling down smoke detectors because they think somebody's in the smoke detector.
The city has a pending lawsuit for breach of contract against Crawford's property owner and Beacon Incorporated, which provides support services for residents. And the Chicago Bears and Indiana officials announced a potential deal Thursday for a new stadium in Hammond. Indiana lawmakers released a package including new restaurant and hotel taxes in Northwest Indiana to help finance infrastructure work connected to the project. The Bears would invest $2 billion toward the stadium. And Joe, about $1 billion in taxpayer funds would go toward infrastructure costs associated with the project.
I know a few fans up there in Northwest Indiana that would love to have the Bears. Thank you, Shelby. Well, this year marks the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Indiana University's Lilly Library has a special exhibit to commemorate the event, and as Isabella Vesperini reports, it includes one of the 26 surviving copies of the Declaration of Independence printed on July 4th, 1776.
The new exhibition features artifacts from the 1770s, when the colonies were fighting for independence from Great Britain.
Half of this room talks about the motives, both the historical events that kind of pushed the colonists to pursue independence, but also some of the philosophical texts or works of political philosophy that helped to kind of inform their ideas about the nature of power, right, and the consent of the people.
The copy of the Declaration on display was printed on July 4th, 1776 in Philadelphia. The document is known as the Dunlap Broadside.
A broadside is a kind of document, it's a piece of paper that's just printed on one side, kind of like a poster. And it's called the Dunlap Broadside because John Dunlap was the printer to the Continental Congress, and it was printed by him in his print shop.
Other artifacts on display include a piece of paper currency printed in 1775 that was worth $5, texts from Thomas Paine, John Locke, and Adam Smith, and letters from Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. All are originals.
It can be a really meaningful way to understand the complexities of history and to make both the connections to the ways that people of the past were like us, and also to identify the ways that people in the past were very different from us.
Dowell's favorite piece is a letter from James Smith, a member of the Continental Congress, to his wife about how he was having a bad day because he lost his hat and his cane and couldn't find his money.
That's just a really amazing glimpse into the life of somebody who's like picked up from their normal life, gone to Philadelphia to serve with a group of people who are attempting something that hadn't been done before, breaking away from the British Empire, right? This was a new and very dangerous thing. And I think that's just a really lovely expression of like maybe a little bit of what it was like. No wonder he was a little bit maybe inattentive to his personal possessions. There are a lot of things to be preoccupied with when you're coming together to declare independence.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Isabella Vesperini.
That's the end of this program. Have a great weekend.
Indiana News Desk is made possible in part by Maller Grosvenor Plummer Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Maller Grosvenor Plummer Attorneys, understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, on the web at lawngp.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville, fiber internet, security solutions, and voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson, attorneys at law since 1949, utilizing experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.